Welcome everyone to the Voice of Terminus show. I'm joined by Josh. Say hello, Josh.
How?
Say hello, Lex.
I want a new daddy.
Say hello, Shy.
Hello.
And today our guests are Tess. Say hello, Tess.
Hello.
And Boomtap. Say hello.
Hey, everybody.
From Standing in Fire podcast. So we're here to sit down with them today, and then we're going to go on break and rethink some things. Because
reevaluate our lives.
Me and Lex, we kind of had a little falling out, and Josh is kind of upset about it, and so we're going to have to go in.
I told you not to drink the last beer.
Mommy and Daddy need to stop fighting.
Mom and Daddy need to take a little break.
Daddy needs to go buy a pack of smokes and never come back.
Do I need to pull this podcast over? Do I need to pull this podcast over? Honestly.
No, we're going to sit down with these two wonderful people before we go on break. It's a good way to end our show for the time being while we go and take a well-deserved break to refuel and plan for the future, basically. Sort some things out, and when we come back, our first official show when we come back will be us reintroducing Tavern Talk, our news show dedicated to Pantheon. That will also air every third Friday of the month, so basically right after the newsletter comes out, we will be sitting down and covering Tavern Talk and talking about the newsletter, what's going on in the community and everything else. And then, yeah. So, let's get into this, shall we? Let's go and have some fun.
Yeah.
Yay.
Now, in Europe, do they just, isn't it a holiday instead of a break? Aren't you going on a holiday?
Yes. I think that's more of England.
You know what I mean? Is that more England? That's not Germany. Is it more England that you go on a holiday instead of?
I think so.
Instead of a break.
Okay. It's Europe. It's holiday like, but because we're mostly focused towards the US with our viewership, we tend to take on the technical terms of the US so that people understand us correctly.
I see.
Well, what about the word sabbatical?
Yeah, that just sounds dirty. I like it.
Yeah.
What?
We're going on a long sabbatical.
Oh, yes. A sabbatical. There you go.
Lexter needs to rub some cream in some places.
What?
Or is sabbatical.
Certain parts are changing.
That's the only way to do it.
I should turn the show onto mature content today.
Of course,
yes, I have that effect on people. I don't know why.
It's been 3 years. You're a little slow to the game on that one. But
Can I just say, as a fan of your guys' show, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself while you guys are on sabbatical. So come back quickly, please. Okay?
See, here's what happened the last time. We went on break. 2 days later, VR did a surprise stream, and our break was cut short.
Yeah.
Oh.
So this is kind of us, like, predicting, foreseeing, something happening all of a sudden within Pantheon. We're kind of preemptively forcing VR to come out with a new stream so that they force
it's pre-alpha is just gonna launch right after you guys go on break, right? It's just gonna happen. Yeah, boom, there it is. All right.
Just because we know they're not at their computers. Of course. But let's get started. Otherwise, it's going to be like 2 a.m. before we finish.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Don't be sorry. Can you please tell us a little bit about your gaming background? And boom, let's start with you.
I am a gamer through and through, but I like everything. As you'll find out, I'm a little different than the traditional MMO gamer in the fact that games since the very beginning, since arcades, have been a big thing to me. And I grew up collecting all my quarters, putting them in a sock, riding my bike down to the local arcade, and just plugging quarters away and having a great time. And so I don't. I'm just a fan of gaming as a whole, and MMO gaming really became something Tess introduced me to, and it became a huge part of my life because I was just enamored with the sheer scope and size of these games. It just seemed like a modern marvel. I actually think when World of Warcraft launched, I was like, this is like the eighth wonder of the world. This is like the most amazing creation man has made. Like it took me 10, 15 minutes to fly from Ironforge to Stormwind, and I was just enamored by it. When I think back on my early days of Pong in the basement, and then all the way to now, I just love to see what people come up with next, and that's why Pantheon is just, it's the next iteration of something. I just can't wait for them to wow me. That's where I'm at.
I gotta ask, what was your favorite arcade game?
Oh my gosh! So I have a lot of them, but I used to love this game called Super Sprint. I don't know if you know it, but it's a top-down version of race cars, and it had 4 wheels at the arcade. I'd pump quarters in that thing all day long and spin those wheels and race it. But I liked a lot of things. A huge Galaga fan. Just about anything in the arcade was great, but I stuck with a few of them for sure.
Very cool. How about you, Tess?
Hi. My background is pretty vanilla. I grew up in the 80s. I had a hardcore gaming mom, and she introduced me to Mama Tess. Mama Tess is kind of famous, and she even now today, I called her and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna do a VoT show. You should tune in." She's like, "I can't. I have PvP tonight at like 64." But she got me into it. We got our very first computer, an Apple II GS, when I was about 7, 8 years old, and we got Bard's Tale. That was the first RPG. And ever since that RPG, I have been an RPG fanatic. So I'm less of an MMO lover and more of an RPG lover. And when I get an MMORPG, dude, the heavens open. There are angels smiling down. And I get all excited, and I just can't stop giggling. So that's my gaming background starts from my mom. All the Ultima games, all the it's hard to think back, but Ultima are the games that I really remember. The Elder Scrolls games, and then my first intro into MMOs was Ultima Online because my mother played it, and then she got WoW and EQ, the original EQ, but I was really too young to kind of play more than like 5 seconds of that game because it was a little hardcore for me. And then WoW came out much later, and my mom was like, "I'm playing Dark Age of Camelot, and I don't want this anymore. Do you want this account?" And so that's kind of where I got my start.
Very
I will
cool.
say Bard's Tale is definitely still one of my top 10 favorite games of all time.
I've never got out of Scarabray ever. I was 8. and so they just re-released it on Steam. So I downloaded it. I was like, now I know what I don't know, and I'll be so much better. Nope.
Yeah.
Still got killed before I even got to the damn tavern. So yeah. I'm also a hardcore tabletop RPG player. VTM, World of Darkness.
Nice.
Hell yeah. And that was the big one. And now I'm pretty deep into D&D 5e. So
Nice.
yeah, that's the Tess.
Awesome. And continuing with chess, what is your best and worst moment in an MMO?
Best moment, there have been so many. I can't pick one. It's basically any time you've been like hitting your head against a wall because you just can't get it. You can't get it. You can't get it. You can't get it. And then you do. And the entire team just starts screaming because you got it down. Or one of those moments where I usually tank. And one of those moments where everybody is dead except for me. And people are like shouting numbers at you like, it's only at 2.7%. Just keep it up, and you finally get it down. Those are the best moments for me.
Awesome.
When you succeed as a group.
Yeah.
Worst moment was probably in WoW when they integrated voice chat. And so I had voice chat running on a pug raid, and it was the same push to talk button as my team's TeamSpeak server.
Oh, here we go.
And so I'm sitting here like, I think I'm talking to my team's, my guild's TeamSpeak, going, this is a terrible group. It sucks so bad. I don't want it. They're terrible.
Oh my word!
I've had that happen as well.
By the way, I am raid leading this whole thing, and I'm almost like, oh my god, you guys! The hunter pulled like for the 4th time, and I finally said, this is the most craptastic group I've ever had. And a guildie of mine
I was in that group, I think.
I think you were. And somebody goes, you have a live mic. I was so embarrassed.
Yeah, you got in trouble for that one.
In big trouble. So there we go. Worst moment. Confusing push-to-talk buttons on different voice servers.
That's one of the reasons why I absolutely despise in-game voice. I always disable it no matter what game it is.
Well, but at the time, that was really that was new, and it was great, and we were thinking like, oh my gosh, maybe we won't have to pay for having all of these, TeamSpeak servers or Ventrilo servers. Well, no, it was crappy.
That's actually happened to me in Discord as well when it first started. I was in voice in a different Discord server, and I was, blabbering on, and I was cursing and everything, chatting with a mate of mine, and they were live streaming something that they were doing, like, and I was I was effing the bomb here and effing the bomb there, until somebody, after like 25-30 minutes, until somebody finally reached out to me from that server, saying, "Hey, you're coming through live on our stream. Can you cut the cursing?"
Oh no! Didn't you feel like this big when that happened?
Yep,
my lord!
It's one of those bad moments.
See, I wish I could say that I had that happen, but I'm usually that way no matter what.
Well, I tend to swear a lot. I mean, I have a dirty mouth, and and so raiding with me as tanking will inevitably include a lot of swearing.
There's a saying that goes, people that swear are honest.
Yeah.
I like it.
There you go.
Yep. Because let's put it this way: when I'm upset about something, Yarn's the first to know.
Yep. So, Boom. When and where did you hear about Pantheon first?
Oh my goodness. So Tess and I have been doing podcasts for a long time. And we joined up with Militus right after his WildStar podcast, which was wildly famous and popular, kind of died down after the launch of WildStar, kind of had a rocky go. And we kind of joined up together and joined forces, and we've been podcasting about Guild Wars, we've been podcasting about the Secret World, we've been podcasting about all kinds of MMOs, basically whatever we play. And we recently were podcasting about World of Warcraft, and it didn't take long to test it. It was probably, I don't know, a couple months into the new expansion, wouldn't you say?
Where positivity was starting to dry up.
Yeah, it was hard. It was just hard for us. And we the whole time we were doing this podcast, we were talking about how things used to be and how we used to get excited about these things and how it wasn't hard to find something to talk about or something in the community to talk about. And Militus, he really takes it personal. He takes it. He is the tried and true diehard MMOer. I mean,
he's better than the two of us
stuff.
Combined.
Right. He lives for this stuff. And he goes, hey, I think I found it. I think I found the upcoming MMO that meets our needs. That is what we've been looking for this whole time. And I was like, what is it? Yeah, yeah, it was like Hello Kitty Adventureland. No, it was, he goes, you got to check out this game, Pantheon. And so I went to the website immediately and I started checking it out and started looking at some streams and getting some information. And I said, yeah, this is really, really cool. This is what we want.
And I'm going to get him in trouble. I'm going to get Mila in trouble because the way he told us about it was, don't tell my wife.
Oh, yeah, he did say that. He started with that. Yeah.
He started with, don't tell my wife.
He led with it.
But I have just gone on this crazy
Hopefully she's not listening right now. Yeah.
Of this new game, and because it's amazing. And then he told us about it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we couldn't help but roll into it. So once we found out about it, we were like, we're in on this. And, Tess and I, it didn't take us a minute, but, part of it is, the MMO being about community and, hearing them talk about community first and all these kinds of things. That's what it was for us. And that's all we really want to be, is a part of a community. That's really our goal. And so we just jumped right in and said, we're podcasting about this and we're just going to have some fun. And, that's what it is, right? This video game thing is a release for us. It's a way for us to kind of escape reality, and we all have stressful jobs and we all have a lot going on. And when we got this chance, we were all about it. Yep.
Yeah.
You say stressful job, and he's just laughing. It's like,
yeah, right.
So, Tess, what makes the difference between Pantheon and all the other MMOs that have you excited the most?
Okay, so when Mila gave us all this information, I went on and I was like, oh yeah, this is just going to be another cookie cutter MMO. And then I started to read, and I read more, and I read more, and I read more. And like I said, I'm a hardcore tabletop RPGer, and there was so many elements of this game that evoked the wonder of playing a tabletop RPG. Just so many. The classes and the synergies between the classes and the lore and the races and just everything. It was beautiful. And we don't get that in a lot of MMOs. We just don't. The elephant in the room, WoW, is the same that it's been since 2004. I mean, to be honest, there have been a couple heavy contenders. Guild Wars 2 was a heavy contender for me. It was interesting. It had some new ideas. Secret World was another one that was interesting. But this one, Pantheon, is going to, I think, take all of the amazing things from a pen and paper kind of RPG style and turn it into a reality, such as the thing that made me drop, and like Mila, don't tell my husband, but the thing that made me get 100% all in was like the perception system. I love the idea that you're not just going to be able to go to a quest hub and there are, you have to talk to people, NPCs. And I just love everything about that. And that's so different than any other MMO I've ever played. And I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Awesome. So Boom, what race are you likely to play?
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you asked this question.
Oh, here we go.
This is the most amazing question in the world.
This is going to be like a
All right,
45-minute go.
Yeah, everybody is going to play the Archai. They're fans. It's the best race out there. No chance I'm playing anything other than the Archai. I've connected with them. That's what it is. Archai for the win.
Archai.
I believe everybody's going to play it.
Awesome.
No. Halflings, FTW.
Right. Well, you know, here's the deal. So, reading up on the Archai lore, right? I mean, they've got this really cool, kind of this troubled backstory, right? They're ripped from their planet. They're kind of torn apart. They're rebuilt into this race, and then they're forced into servitude, right? So they're slaves. And I love the idea of them becoming a surfer. So I've added my own little bit of lore to it, and I'm gonna talk about them being surfers until it actually becomes part of the game. So if any devs are listening, the Archai need to be surfers. There's got to be some part of them that is a surfer, because I believe that's what they become. They're going to be chill. They're going to be surfing.
The Archai are going to get an emo where they just go.
I'm going to see it now.
Yeah, they're just going to be like, they're going to be like,
Ended.
do your worst,
on the
man.
back of a dark mirror, surfing across the ocean.
Yeah,
Woo-hoo!
exactly. Do your worst. We're going to hang 10. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah,
So we-
love the Archai. I think they're cool.
I'm sorry to disappoint, but there's only two races in Pantheon. There's Scar, and then there's Snacks.
I'm
and
sorry,
snacks.
but the Scar.
All right.
No,
We'll
you're
just
wrong.
We'll just be surfing. We're just gonna. The Archai are just gonna be surfing, and having a good time. There you go. All right.
That's fine.
So Tess and yourself?
Halfling.
Handling.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let me put it this way. It depends on what is released upon when everything launches. I love Bard class. So and this is coming from a hardcore tank, okay?
Right.
I love Bard. I love the Bard. It comes from D&D and all this stuff, but kind of a jack of all trades, CC support class. That is my idea of fun with a capital F. And but so if that is released, then it's going to be Halfling all the way, Halfling Bard. If that's not released, then I'll probably go back into a tanky role like a Paladin, and then it'll probably be Dwarf. But we just have to see. We'll just have to see what's available.
Nice.
I think that's funny because I'm a career tank, and I love bards.
Did we just become best friends?
There you go.
I think so. Do you want to go do kung fu in the garage?
Yes. As long as I can
There
get
you
like a broom handle, I can be a Star Wars kid.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right. I want to see this. Now you guys have to make it happen.
Well, what about you guys? Because I've listened and I don't really know what you guys are like hardcore about. Because I haven't gone that. You have so many episodes, and we only started. I know, right? And we, you guys were our homework. Not homework, because that makes it sound like it's bad, but like.
And I agree.
When we were listening, when we decided to do this, we were to do Standing in Fire. We were like, okay, let's listen to a crap ton of VoT because they know their crap.
Sorry.
Oh no, it was wonderful, and I loved it.
Sorry, you went through
No, it was
all that.
beautiful. No, it was wonderful. Stop it. But what are your guys' favorite classes and races?
Summoner.
So okay, Shy. That's my second.
Yeah, I've always been drawn to the monk myself, because
Mm-hmm.
I love the EQ2 monk that I used to tank with. I used to tank for years on that. So that for me. That was great. But it all depends on how they handle the monk in Pantheon.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not drawn to the monk that well or not enjoying it, then I might go utility.
And what's the number one for you?
Number one would be what utility was, or monk.
Utility-wise, if you can't.
If Bard is there, then I'd go Bard. Otherwise, I would go Channeler. Or what's the?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Enchanter?
Enchanter, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we all know what Yarn says.
Yarn, yeah.
Well, nobody knows what I say. Nobody knows.
Trust me.
Because
I know.
I still am very conflicted. I've been playing. I'm a career healer. I've always played healer. I played 12 years exclusively a Warden in EverQuest 2. I played them all basically in EQ, but the Druid class is all going to be dependent on how it flows and how it relates to what a Warden is in EverQuest 2.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't find that relationship and that enjoyment, then it's going to be a cleric. I want to be that healer. I want to be the healer, but
cleric is awesome.
So it's
Scar,
and what race?
Lord,
what race would you do? Would you do your cleric with?
Gonna eat Yarn alive.
Darkmere, all the way.
Really?
Yep, I'm so impressed with the racial attributes and choices that they brought into Pantheon. It's. I mean, yes, they relate to the. A lot of people are saying the Dark Elves, but it's still something refreshing and new. It's never been done before. Like the Archive, it's refreshing. The space gnomes. It's so refreshing to see these little twists on these races, on these classes, and that's what it's all about. And the Darkmere have just basically really got me inspired and excited the most.
And the Archive for me as well.
Everybody knows I'm gonna play, so.
Well, I don't.
Scar Dire Lord. Even though I'm still not happy with the way the Dire Lords have been changed.
Yeah.
It's gonna be Scar Dire Lord.
He's playing the Scar, and in his bio on the website, by the way, Lexer says he's going to eat halflings. So I just thought you should know that, Tess.
I am going to
eat
rampage to
halflings.
Wild's End. I will make it my job at some point. I will raid Wild's End. Even if it's a one-man raid, it will happen.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I don't want to jump ahead, but okay, never mind.
I don't want to jump ahead, but Lex, you can go yourself.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm going to be a Scar Dire Lord. My guilty pleasure alt, which will be my main alt, is going to be, I don't know what race, but it will be a bard.
You're already planning your alt. That's crazy.
Stop it, Boom. You have...
Well, the reason is because the VoT as a guild is very heavy on tanks. So unless the Dire Lord can swap back between tanking and DPSing, I want other people to experience the tank.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy that walks into a group and assumes that I have to tank.
You heard it here first. The VoT is tank heavy.
I have been tanking for 20 years. It's time to let someone else do it.
Well, I only just got into tanking. I used to be hardcore DPS until I got tired of chasing the meter.
Yes.
Because CC, crowd control, utility, that I can get behind. Just chasing a meter, that's rough, man.
Yeah. I pride myself on being able to play any class. No, maybe not to an expert level, but higher than average.
Understand the
Yeah, I mean,
seems like there's going to be a lot of bards, though. It seems like everybody's going to go music the very minute it comes out.
That's just because I'll be the only one that's playing black metal.
Oh, I see. Okay, black metal bard. If there's a black metal bard in there, then we're in. All right.
No,
if there's a black metal bard, then it has to be Surfer Archive.
There we go.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's
the
so fun.
the Archai all the way. Yeah, right. I agree.
Ooh,
So, Lex,
I made a noise.
you want to carry on?
I suppose I should. So, which of the racial lore that we currently have has been your favorite and why? And let's start with Tess.
Well, I'll be honest. I haven't gotten 100% behind a lot of the lore stuff. I've gotten behind world lore, like the
Kind of like
the overarching, yeah. Like this is what happened in this age, and then this age happened, and then so I felt fairly schooled in that. In individual racial lore, I don't feel like I'm an expert by any stretch of the imagination. I'm really kind of running off of my personal preconceived fantasy just obsession, and so I'm excited to see what that actually means in playstyle. Because how many times have we seen in an MMO that there's this awesome race that has this great backstory, and maybe you get a little taste of it in the character creation and in the starting zone, but then it never continues past that, you know? I'm excited mostly to see what that means in terms of faction and how other people treat you and NPCs, because we really haven't seen that a lot in the MMOs that I have played. So I really don't know a lot about the racial lore, but I'm excited to experience it organically.
Yeah, how about you, Boom?
Oh man, I think the lore of this this game has got so much possibility, and I know it's just early and they're just kind of fleshing it out, but I love the fact that you've got this planet that existed prior to everything, and then you have all of these races that are kind of being brought here, and it's just going to create this ability for them to design a game in any way that they want to. They can go a 1,000 different directions with this. And like I said earlier, the thing that drew me to the Archai was this idea of them being plucked from their homeworld and then sort of fabricated into this slave race on this new Terminus world, and kind of how they might overcome that. And I would love to. I'm just excited to hear how they want to flesh it out. And if Visionary Realms is listening, how I think you should flesh this out is you should worry about the Archai becoming surfers and sort of just being like, yeah, we had it rough, but now we found the
we're kind of mellow now.
We're mellow now. We're over it.
Right.
We're not a part of your wars, man, right? They can sort of just chill. But no, I think it's cool because you got all these planets and you've got all these different things. It's the makings of not only a really cool fantasy world, but hidden in the depths of this is a sci-fi world as well.
And it allows for so many different expansions. You know, it allows for other things to be brought in.
You know, if you think about what he just said there, right? Has anybody seen? Did you guys all see the Adrian Brody Predator movie?
No, I don't like scary movies.
But I do want to see it.
So basically, it's almost the story, Boom, is almost similar to what you just described there. So you should go and watch that. I'm not going to spoil too much, but you know that's what
I'm going to do
sounds like.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Those
right. It's like this.
They know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And I'm excited to see them flush out this lore of why on earth all of this is happening. Why are all these races being brought here? What's the purpose of that?
That's gonna be one of the most intriguing,
so cool,
stories for us to follow up on over the years to come. Finding out little tidbits here and there and putting the puzzle together of you know, even that's the thing. Will we even get to see that? Get that knowledge?
Yeah,
we don't know. You know, but that's one of the things that I'm most intrigued about, is finding out, why is this happening? You know, what's the big picture here? And then when we had Jopper on as well, when we kind of talked about the latest screenshots from Black Rose Keep, and we mentioned the one of the screenshots had like a moon and looked like a planet and everything. He did not deny that could possibly be the case, that there's another planet out there. He didn't say 100% that's the case though, but he didn't deny it either. So it leaves a lot of room for speculation of where they can go, what they can do. You know.
Yeah.
With all that being said, I'm curious, what do you guys think about progressing individual race lore versus how most MMOs, what they've been doing is every race has their own lore, and the world has its lore, but the world is what ends up getting extended.
They should have.
Yeah,
I would love it. I would dig that.
I would need a towel. It would be beautiful. It would be wonderful. I mean, just saying, you know, it would be great, because how many times in MMOs are there these great races with these intricate backstories, and then it's just like, and now you're in, and you know we don't care about you anymore.
Yeah, you're on the main story rail now.
They could do like episodes, like little adventures, like where it's, you know, this month or this next quarter of the year, it's all about the Archai, or it's all about the Darkme, or it's all about the Halflings, where people can get, you know, all the other races can get some insight into what's going on there. You can have, like, you know, different kinds of celebrations and parties happening, and
can you barbecue the halfling? Can you?
Stop it! Don't rotisserie the halfling. Right. No, but you said something that's very interesting. What if? I mean, so many MMOs have holidays, right? What if individual races had holidays too? You know, the Archai Independence Day and the Halfling Don't Barbecue Me Day, you know, and it would just be great.
It's the same with adding, like, you know, you could have like alliances form and break and fall apart within the story, the main world itself, like, you know. So you can have like this fact, the elves, and we know the elves and the humans, you know, they've had their conflicts here and there, and now they seem to, you know, kind of put that all aside at the moment, but that could be something that evolves over time as well. Again, there's, you know, there's these exploding conflicts again that happen where they break apart. This, you know, this is what's so great, and why we've always said, well, a lot of people disagree with us, but, you know, especially for me, from my personal point of view, lore is the most important piece when it comes to game design. If you have that lore to the bone written down and you actually utilize it in game, you can do so much with your game without having to put so much effort into thinking about, what are we going to do, how are we going to expand this, where are we going to take it next. You know, they've got the backbone right there, and the way they've written their lore is like Boom said. There's 10,000 different ways they can go. They can have twists and turns and rebounds, and, you know, it can go around and around and around and around, and you know, it wouldn't even bother us. We wouldn't even pick up on it straight away. What's going on? Because it's so twisted.
And it would also be great.
Awesome.
It would be great to have like lost treasure of a certain race as well, where you can go hunting for that.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
We talked about that.
Or what about if you could? And I hope that VR does this, and they're not so enamored with something that they've built to just blow it away, like a main city just being decimated. Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah. Yep. That would be awesome.
And, you know, and that's hard, because that not only is there love for that city, not only is there love for the cultural kind of implications that you get from having, for example, the Scar City, but what if the halflings rise up against a Scar and we burn their city down. You know,
Well,
I mean,
I'm
I'm
realistic here, so
no,
Yeah,
I'm being
right.
realistic.
Yeah, they just burned your city. Oh my
Halfling
gosh.
master race.
Yeah, right. Wow.
Those are
See,
like
the
those
interesting
are
thing-
events that they could do.
well, see, the interesting thing is, say you destroy a city like King's Reach or Thronefast or something.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean it's always gone.
Yeah.
No, it has to be rebuilt over
Exactly.
time.
You have a story that involves its destruction. You have a story that involves its recovery, and a story that involves its rebuilding.
Mhm.
There's 3 stories from one
Yeah.
technically
there's-
one event.
And then, like Boom said already, this ancient race comes along, gives them so much the high tech that they have a space thrown fast. You know, the laser. Exactly. There you go.
Yeah, right. It can go that far.
they
Yeah,
can
it can go that far.
Too far.
Yeah.
Always end one step too far.
No, you know, he's right though.
I'm
This
thinking
is
a sci-fi
this
game,
is
but I
a
don't
story
know.
that can transcend fantasy, though. That's what I think is so cool about this. Obviously, there's some bigger beings at play here that brought them from these other planets. There's obviously an entire universe that's at play here, and they don't deny that. They're just like, here it is. These races have come from other places, and it's not crazy to think that it couldn't go from bows and arrows to laser beams. It's not out of the realm of possibility that
Now,
It is
with
certainly
what
possible.
about now? What
expansions
about
that happens.
that? Would actually be very ballsy to actually go that extra mile in an MMO and take your game
Right.
from, like you just mentioned, bows and arrows to holding pistols and rifles and running around to having laser
Right.
beams and everything.
Well,
at
I
the
mean,
end. That
it's
would be
natural
crazy.
evolution.
Right.
I'm just saying, I would love to see. Again, I'm a hardcore
gotta ask a
D&D
question real quick.
player. Yeah,
If you shoot a Pantheon gnome from a crossbow, does that count as a laser gun?
If you shoot a Pantheon gnome
Yes, because
with a
they're energy.
crossbow.
Is that a laser
Yeah,
gun?
I don't know.
well,
I don't know
only
you
if
shoot
it
them
if you
out
have,
of it.
you can.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you launch them, if you stick them in a catapult, then it's a laser bomb. We'll call
Hey-o.
it. So if you
Neutron
can
bomb.
catapult gnomes, yeah, we you got to shoot. Load up some gnomes in the catapult, launch them over the castle wall. There you go.
It's because now I just picture, draw your lightsaber and a gnome comes out of the guy's pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
If you squeeze them
Fling
hard
gnomes.
enough, light will come
Yeah.
between your fingers there.
Well, okay,
But then you're
Lex,
definitely going to need a towel.
we might
You
have
need a
to have
gnome
a fight.
squeezer.
We might have to have a fight because I'm hardcore. Star Wars is fantasy. It's not sci-fi.
Yeah, it is fantasy. It is fantasy. Yeah, you're right.
Basically,
And
space
it
samurai.
maintains that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it maintains the fantasy, but you know what I'm kind of saying. It transcends
Yes.
like what we think of as traditional fantasy. Like I think tech is going to be naturally like how it evolves. I think they're going to be able to bring in the text from these other cultures and civilizations that were left behind. When they brought the Archai, they changed them. There's obviously some tech at play there. You don't change the Archai race without some genome kind of technology going on. There's tech in this world.
It's the same with the gnomes. They were once
Yeah,
normal,
right.
normal beings, and then they became energy.
Yeah.
They ascended.
Well, see,
Yeah. How did
that's
that
the
happen?
interesting thing about
Right.
the world lore, how worlds are basically, or shards of other worlds are pulled into Terminus. There's nothing
Fantastic.
that actually says that, hey, it can't be a technologically advanced race, because there's obviously
Right.
going to be some out there, but it's up to VR to do it. And Punk, I love Space Marines, so yes, please.
The thing is,
But-
as well, with the races, the way they've done it as well, it's exciting to see what they come up with next. What the next race will be, and how it comes on Terminus. Because the fact that
Right.
the matter is as well, is there even a race indigenous to Terminus? Is there one that actually was there?
The dragons?
Yeah.
Oh well, apart
The-
from the dragons.
Well,
Revenant?
okay, hold on. I remember this
There
from my
was.
studies,
I think there's 3. Yeah, I think
There
there's
were
3
3.
races that are indigenous. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't
but
remember
I'm
what they
talking
were,
about-
but there
I'm
are
talking
3
about-
races.
I'm talking about like races that we don't know about. That might be
Oh,
something
that we don't know
No,
about.
I don't know.
That
I
might
don't
be
know.
that might
Yeah.
be something that we might be able to play as a race later on down the road, and that's exciting. as
Yeah,
well.
right.
Yeah.
hmm
This
Yeah.
game just is so fun. I can't wait. It's gonna be great.
I think the one thing that you're going to be excited for the most is when someone shouts in OOC chat that I've basically gone into Wild's End, and then you see me running with like 40 guards on my butt. Like,
and then I will help all of the 40 guards take you down.
You know, Lex. You know, Lex.
I run faster scared than you can angry.
Lex, there will be halfling guilds formed just for you to take you down.
Right.
Bring it on, baby.
Oh my gosh, is Lex going to be the new Spoon?
I will pay.
Yeah, I feel like
to see halfling guilds take you down.
Fine by me.
Oh my gosh, that'll be great. I love it. I love the fact too that we don't know. You know, I know that bothers a lot of people, and they want answers. I want so badly to discover the answers to these questions, not in a PDF lore document, but organically while we play. I cannot wait. It's going to be great, you guys.
I just hope that the lore kind of plays that much of a role to some extent. Now, bear with me here. Some extent that for you to actually understand the world and what's going on, you have to actually explore the lore and find out more about it for you to get a full understanding of a region, of an area, of a zone, to even unlock maybe certain quests and everything. I would love to see something like that, where you have to have this understanding first of what's going on and put like this puzzle together to kind of, have the big picture revealed to you.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what they're probably going to try to do with the whole perception system. Do you disagree?
I think it's going to touch on certain elements, racial, class-wise, but I actually think the perception system could end up being something that draws your main stories and special stories towards that kind of sense. I wouldn't want the perception to basically be the thing that you have to go or you can choose to do to find out more about the lore, because a lot of people would miss out on what's out there.
Yeah.
There's not many people are going to be doing or are going to be interested in becoming a keeper to go and pursue that.
I'd be very surprised if the perception system did not relate to the actual races that spotted maybe racial type perception.
Mm-hmm.
Be it in architecture, be it in dwarves for underground or things like that. So maybe there's bonuses that they'll get for their own racial perception.
Yeah.
Well, I think that they should have those, but I think it's, oh my gosh, all of the questions that we don't have answers to me, I wake up in like a cold sweat in the middle of the night going, well, what if they did this? Oh, wow. I cannot wait. It's going to be so exciting.
Great.
Cool. So let's, whose is it? Yours, Josh?
No, it's yours.
It's mine, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So we already know what Tess is going to say. But we'll ask Boom this one first, because Boom's been, Boom's FaceTime has been short today. I blame that on the halfling. What mechanics are you looking forward to the most, and why? Be it like perception, the weather, the climate, acclimation system, and so forth.
Right. So just in general, the slower pace of the game is exciting to me. The fact that there's going to be strategy involved, that's exciting. And, the disposition system that they kind of mentioned in this last, email that they kind of posted. I love the idea of seeing a mob there with 4 or 5 people. And I'm like, okay, hey, pull that guy on the left and crowd control the guy on the right. And then we accidentally screw up, and the fifth guy runs and goes and grabs an entire mob of people that come and attack us. I love the idea of being able to screw up with a mob and not knowing what maybe every single person is going to do in that mob. And, you might have a scaredy cat that's going to draw the entire army on you. And that one mistake can create a wipe. I think that's a lot of fun to just with mobs. It's not always a boss fight that should wipe you. There should be chances to wipe just with a mob that's hanging out in a camp, because if you think about it, you're outnumbered usually. They're well prepared. They're at the camp, and so I love that idea of that being different every time. I think that's really, really cool, and this game is going to bring a lot with that.
Well, it goes, that expands though to the normal races as well, like they mentioned. That got me really exciting to hear. That they're looking at, NPCs from cities and villages and everything, having these dispositions and behaviors as well. So, a wolf comes too close to a village that, isn't... we've lost Lexi for a minute. I don't know where he is. Hopefully he'll be back. That gets me really excited to see that it's not just us engaging with the NPCs that are, pure evil. It's, engaging with the NPCs that, might give us a quest or that are part of a village or a city.
Yeah, right.
Seeing them behave, it makes the world feel, that goes to what Brad was talking about. Wanting to create a world rather than just an MMO, rather than just creating a game. He wants to create a world, and that's the piece of the puzzle that has always been missing in these games. These NPCs just stand there. You run past 90 NPCs in any major city, 3 of them will talk to you. The other 87, they just stand there, do nothing. They're just there for cosmetics to make it look like the city's alive. And that's something that's always kind of bugged me. Is like, why doesn't anything happen? So much happens with these expansions and with the world itself, but nothing ever happens in these cities. Nothing changes.
They don't happen because you're not worthy.
Exactly.
Yeah, when you have
power here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
did we lose traction or something? Uh-oh.
Well, I see that there's fire and we're getting me some marshmallows.
Are we offline then? Are we completely
Oh, no,
off?
That's just my end.
Oh, okay.
The entire block.
I don't have that much power, Boo.
Yeah, okay, all right.
They're not running on a Dell Optiplex. They're fine.
Oddly enough, I have one right over here.
On my computer system.
I have an Optiplex right over here.
To tie on to that, it would be really cool. I've been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and they've been doing some really creative stuff in that game with it, albeit a single player experience. But I would love to see, when you earn, maybe it's not called faction rep, because that's always kind of got a derogatory term. But as you get reputation with a specific group of people, when you run into another village, if they're enemies of that people, they should be scared of you.
Yeah.
And so, it's kind of that thing of, I'm running through this village and all of a sudden they should be leery of me, or maybe even alarming the guards, or there should be some sort of interplay that's not just the named NPCs or the bad guys. There should be something that's going on organically with the rest of the universe based on that rep that all these games seem to love. They love that reputation grind.
Yeah. So, what's it for you then, Mrs. Halfling?
Mrs. Halfling, I will accept that moniker. Honestly, the thing that I'm most looking forward to is the Living Codex. Mm-hmm. This idea that, for example, a bard. This idea that I have this song that I can sing to do this CC thing or this utility thing, and then I have to go on a hardcore quest to get the next verse to that song, and make it more powerful or buff it up. I think that to me is fascinating. I'm so excited to see what that means, and how that will change what I can do in my role. because we don't want our roles to be they're going to be semi predefined, but how can those evolve as the game goes on, as you see more things? I'm so excited to see what that is going to entail.
Awesome. So, Tess, how do you view the crafting in MMOs, and do you make use of them?
I am a hardcore crafter. I love crafting. That's what I usually do with my downtime. Like if I jump into a game and I don't really feel like grinding this out and I don't have a raid scheduled, then that's what I'm doing. I'm crafting. I'm gathering mats. I want the crafting system to be dynamic. I want it to offset some RNG too. I have the worst luck in MMOs. I can never get a drop ever. Doesn't matter how many times I run something, I will never get it. So I wanted to be able to spend the time to craft something similar.
Yeah.
Not the same thing, but something similar, so that if I go on raid after raid after raid after raid, or dungeon after dungeon after dungeon, and I never get that item, that I can at least try for it. So that's my thing about crafting. I will love it, dude.
Really?
It's in trouble. I will craft so hard, but yeah.
I will craft you so hard.
Yeah,
you're not going to be able to gather for a week.
Yeah. I love crafting. I'm excited to see what that means. And in the last, didn't they just say that they had put kind of like the system together, but they weren't ready to talk about it? Isn't that what they just said in the?
If I remember correctly, it was more of like a preliminary, put it together, see where we're at.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see what it means. I can't wait.
Cool. And yourself, Boom?
Well, here's the thing. I too love crafting, and I even love gathering. And in a game like Pantheon, this could be an important aspect of the game because solo play is going to be a little more difficult. So this might be the thing you can do solo is craft and gather. So I think it's going to have a big part. When I say that though, crafting is always this interesting thing where at the start of an expansion or a new game, crafting is important. And everybody's doing it and everybody's involved in it. But as the game wears on, everybody has the crafted stuff and then it dies. And so I'm a big believer that in order for crafting to be sustainable, you have to have kind of what a normal economy... Oh, I'm sorry. You'd have to have what a normal economy has, which is you have to have stuff that wears out. Yeah. You've got to have something that you have to have a reason or a purpose for crafting to continue long term. And so I'm a big believer in having things kind of have a use cycle, and so that things that you're making are important still, because I would love to have that be a part of the game, but I do not want it to be where I craft one piece of gear and that's it. And maybe I sell a couple of them and that's it. I want it to be where everybody's preparing for the raids and preparing for the dungeons. So I'm going into this dungeon and I need some sort of a rain suit because that's going to protect me from the weather in that dungeon. And it's going to wear out by the end of the dungeon. And that creates that demand that makes me go out in the world and do that. And I'm hoping that's where I get my solo play from.
Very cool.
Yeah. So enchants wearing out everything. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, enchants, all that stuff. Everything, I feel like it's got to wear out. That's just my own personal opinion. And that's controversial, by the way. If you talk to Minus, he would, he argues with me about most things, by the way, but he would probably be like, no, do not do that. But I don't know. I feel like there's got to be a purpose to crafting, and I feel like in most MMOs it just kind of dies off.
No matter the system, no matter the system, be it repair cost, wear out, completely destroy, or whatnot. There's always pros and cons. You just, as VR's point of view, they just have to pick what's going to fit their vision best.
Well, I would love to hear what you guys think. Militus and I are huge on this, and I know Tess kind of follows in this footstep as well. But we believe that kind of the purpose of generally running an MMO is to get ready for the more advanced content. Like everything you're doing is gearing you and preparing you for it. So whether you're crafting food or potions or everything, your whole thing is like, I'm going to go into this raid prepared. And I guess that's what we're hoping for. We're hoping that everything that Pantheon brings is in preparation for us to run these raids, and that the more prepared we are, the better we're going to have success. And we can prepare by going out in the world and participating in all of the different things that are happening in it.
I'm on the other side of that one, personally.
Yeah.
You're like Milla.
That's something that's always bugged me. Is that basically the MMOs or these games are designed for the so-called end content. It's a word I despise with a passion. There shouldn't be any end content in an MMO. Period. The whole world should be dangerous. Every corner you go around should be dangerous. There should be big dangers there that you can discover, and that's how I see it. Raiding, from what I also understand from VR's approach to the raiding system as well, is going to be a companion. I'd rather have that be a companion that basically follows me throughout my adventures. It doesn't have to be from the get-go. So say around, after you've started to learn about your class and your race, and you've got a good understanding of your spells and everything, so around say the 20s, the earliest, that's when I want raiding to become interesting, and where it becomes a part of me. But that shouldn't be my core focus. Raiding shouldn't be the be-all and have-all. There should be other dangers out there that are just as exciting, just as dangerous for me to go out and explore with my group, or with friends and whatnot, rather than just concentrating on the raiding, because it's kind of like the same order. That's one of the main reasons why I quit EverQuest 2. Is because you could put it down. You could put it down to the date when the next expansion comes out, and you knew exactly you were going to go and do the same old crap you did the last 15 years. You leveled up, you geared up, you did the raid content, you waited for the expansion to come out. The expansion came out, rinse and repeat. I'm fed up with that.
Well, and that's what WoW did too. Like, I agree with you. But in terms of crafting, there are some professions that are only in a lot of MMOs, not all, but in some MMOs are only geared towards getting you to endgame. Yeah. And once you get to endgame, then that crafting system is ballooned.
Dead. Yeah.
It's dead.
And that's where it comes down to the design of all their crafting professions that they have. Because there's a lot more that an alchemist can do, than rather than just progress people towards the raiding, or somebody that's a baker, for instance, who gives us food and drink and gives us that better food and drink for the raids, etc. There's a lot more that they could do with that. Crafting, for me, the way I envision crafting, is my second, or my alternate way of playing the game. It doesn't have to be about the adventure. It can be about the crafting, the harvesting, the trading. Because for me, the terminology that we always use, we talk about crafting, but it's trades and crafts. That's got me intrigued. I want to be able to log into Pantheon and not have anything or very little to do with the adventuring side of things. But, play this game 10, 15 years. And all I've done is, mostly trading and crafting and gathering, and because there's ways to expand cities, for instance. Maybe you can expand cities and expand regions, help towards that, help build guild halls and this, that, and the other. There's so much that you could possibly do with the crafting aspect of the game, and to think as well that the craftables that we have, or that people can create, are going to be just as good almost as the raid gear that comes out of some of these raid dungeons. Kind of hints at that there's going to be a lot more to raiding than, or to crafting than what we actually know already, or what's been revealed to us. I think crafting is going to be very important.
Crafting should be split, where some of it is for raiding, but it could be other aspects of it could be for mere housing. General adventuring, sorting out cities, that type of thing. So it should range over multiple areas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't want to see crafting where when you get to quote unquote end game content, the only professions that are viable are professions that support quote unquote raiding, like alchemy or baking. That's just my thing though, because I love crafting and I tend to do weird crafters, and I don't want to. I hate it when we get deep into a release and there's nothing left for my crafter to do.
It's like with my carpenter that I had in EverQuest 2. The only thing that was viable for me at the end in high tier stages was crafting the storage boxes. That was the only thing that was, worth going for. Yeah, you went and crafted your way up to the max level, but then at the end of the day, all I did was craft like hundreds and thousands of these storage boxes to put them on the marketplace to sell for a few plat. So I make some money. And that's what it comes down to, is looking at these recipes later on and trying to figure out how to keep stuff fresh and usable. So we did a show a while back where we talked about instead of tiering the crafting materials, you could have the materials be something that is relevant regardless of what level you are.
Oh wow, that's an interesting idea.
So you take like steel and you mix that with Coldane to form this new breastplate, for instance. And steel's tier 1. Coldane's tier 5, for instance, just as an example. But you still need that steel from tier 1 to make this special sort of breastplate. That's something that we looked at, explored, and talked about. Is having materials not really matter that you gather. Have them not tiered down, where they become useless at some point. So
for me, it was always with crafting. I wanted to feel like there's some skill to it, because if you look at a carpenter, a good carpenter can do some really great things in real life.
Yeah,
things that a normal person like me just can't do because I haven't put the time in to learn how to do that stuff. Yeah, so why can't crafting be like that, where if I'm talking to a blacksmith to make me an item, I know I'm going to someone who's very skilled at what they do, and it's going to be, again, just like in real life, when I find a carpenter that I like his work and I get along well with them, every time I need something done with wood, I go to that person. Why not do the same thing?
Exactly. It's like with furniture, for instance. Why have, you've got these Maragoni set pieces, you got your tables, you got the chairs, this, that, and the other. But it's costly. But hey, guess what? I can do this in oak wood though as well. It's a lot cheaper for you then to put in your house. You can have this setup, instead of having it in Maragoni, you have it in oak wood instead, or in ash wood, or whatever.
That was one thing I never understood in games. For example, a carpenter in a game can make, say, a maple chair. Then, by all logic, shouldn't he be able to make an oak chair?
Yeah.
Or a redwood chair? Or a cedar chair?
2, 5.
You just might not know how to work with that wood.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that this goes back to what Boomyu was saying. I think the easiest way to keep certain professions viable is, you sit on your oak chair. And after sitting on it 17 billion times, it breaks, just like in your regular house. Your chair breaks, and then you need to get a new one, and then that keeps the carpenter class viable, because they don't just have to buy one chair. Eventually, they're going to have to replace it, just like in real life.
Opening soon in Terminus.
For me,
IKEA store coming soon.
Yeah, but for me, the biggest issue, and I'm sure this is the same issue with a lot of people, is what if you spend like 2 months making a breastplate? Okay, you had to raid, you had to get all these rare items, and it breaks. That's a massive loss to you, and that's a lot of time investment for something you could essentially just go with. But
no, I agree with you.
If a blacksmith can take that apart and salvage what isn't broken, craft that one broken piece and put it back together, then you're only spending like maybe a few days, and it's good for another couple months.
But then I got to ask though, if you say that might be agonizing to that person, then why do we indulge in these games where it's rinse and repeat? Because you're going to chuck that away at some point. that breastplate's going to be useless to you, pointless to you. You might have spent 2 months or 2 months.
I'm a fan of items that become important to you. You become attached to, like epics. I am so sick and tired of even anything that you spend a lot of time acquiring is essentially useless the next time, you know, a freaking expansion comes out, or the next time you go to another tier of dungeon. Why should these be thrown away? Because you put blood, sweat, and tears into these. Well, at least in my case, because sometimes I get mad and punch things.
Well, I think that external factors should affect craftable items or any type of items in the game. So, for instance, I'll just use some extreme example where a troop of rust monsters run through the city, wiping out all metal items. It's up to you to recraft those type of things.
Or maybe there's that prevents that.
Maybe there's wood blight that runs through the city as well for some reason. You got to get some special coating to coat your stuff, you know, if you want them to survive. So in this way, you get that destruction and rebirth of items type.
And that's another way as well to kind of have those little events happen where you, like money sinks, for instance, and where you're kind of involved in the community within the world. You know, have like maybe some climate or some weather comes booming down, some acid rain comes booming down now on these cities, and now the roofing needs redone. So that comes where, you know, all the crafters come together to help rebuild the city, to help.
Oh,
you know,
wouldn't that be beautiful? That would be such a great storyline. I vote for that storyline. I love it. That's so great.
I'm gonna let you, Tess. I'm gonna let you re-roof all the houses while I'm building beautiful oak chairs.
I'll do it. Give me a hammer. I'm all good.
With a lot of players not enjoying the idea of possibly losing something they spend a lot of time in.
Yeah, right.
If you give ways to prevent that, or slow it down immensely, or make it easier to replace that item.
I think it's your quality of items too.
That's
right. Like for instance, if I go and I get my epic weapon, and there is a chance that we fight rust monsters. If I don't take care of my weapon, then yes, it should become dilapidated and fall apart because I didn't take care of it. Now that could be done with a coating or maybe a simple
sharpening stone or whatever,
stone or whatnot. But it's just a lot. I think when you say items destroyed, a lot of people just think that, you know, boom, it's gone.
I'd rather have my armor, for instance, that I get. If I become attached to a certain piece of armor, you know, we've talked about this, or we talk about this so often about, you know, the epic armor and this, that, and the other. I'd rather be able to take a piece of armor that's tier 1 and turn that into a tier 5 at some point by breaking it down, by breaking down pieces that I found. And because if you, I always compare crafting or this situation to movies. When you watch a movie, the main antagonist, the main guy's got this armor on, and that's the armor he wears throughout the entire movie. That's that armor piece, and that's how it should be in these MMOs. You should be able to carry your armor from day 1 till the day you die, and basically modify.
As crude as that sounds,
except for Avengers. Infinity Wars, because, you know, Thor got his upgrade.
He did.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey does that exact thing, which I thought was interesting. You can get legendaries at level 2, and you can continue to level them up to the max level. So if you get attached to a legendary and something that is a part of that legendary, you can do it. Now, it's a very crude version of that. It's not as involved as I think an MMO needs to be. But I have enjoyed that portion of it. I have a sword that I got early in the story that I've kept till late in the game.
That's where the idea of having the materials that you gather become non-tiered. So I've got this steel breastplate that I've got in the tier 1. Now I've entered the tier 2s, and now I've found you know, copper. There's now copper breastplates out there. But there's also copper that I can gather. I can now go to a blacksmith and have him hammer in the copper to my breastplate for me to have it equivalent to the tier 2. But I'm still wearing the same breastplate that I had before.
Sure.
Well, what if we did this? If we created like Lex was saying about having to take care of it. But in order to take care of it, you have to include other professions. So example, I have this amazing breastplate, but I need to get a tailor to make me polishing cloths to make sure that it is maintained. Or I have this great sword, but I need a leather worker to make sure that I get a great sheath for it.
Yeah.
And it continues to make interaction in between the different professions necessary, and it keeps the economy viable.
Exactly. It does wonders for the economy because everyone's going to want that stuff. It keeps every craft relevant because someone's got something that can help an item. But the more important thing is that I know a lot of people, or at least the skeptics, are going to say something like, well, I don't want to always have to buy this stuff. Well, what if you only needed to buy it? Like, we'll assume you play 24/7. You have caffeine drip to your veins. You only need to do something like that once a month. Like we're talking hundreds of hours. We lost somebody.
Yeah, it has to be something like that. It's got to be something where you're right. You earn a legendary, you want to keep it for a while, and you want to have that. But think about this from just a replayability standpoint, and from a business marketing kind of thing for VR. If you put the game away for 3 months, while it's sitting there, all of your food that you had is rotting. All of the potions you have are becoming less effective. And maybe your stuff is rusting.
Than if you were logged in, I hope.
At a slower rate, but still, when you come back to the game, and I would argue that why play an MMO if all you want is the action? There's plenty of just RPGs where you just have the action constantly. Why play an RPG, an MMORPG, unless you want that sort of thing? And I guess that kind of realism really immerses you into the game. And while I think some people do look at it as, well, that's an inconvenience for me to have to go and get these materials and do all this stuff. In general, it's exciting to have to do that because I'm preparing my character. The whole thing is I've got this character that I built, that I created at the intro screen, and I sort of get to continue to put time and effort into. It's almost a labor of love to give that character my stuff.
You bring up like RPG. I always look at it like, yes, this is an MMORPG, role-playing game. Why is it that I only have that one adventurer role that I'm playing?
Yeah.
Right,
exactly. Game. Why can't I be somebody that has a storefront? Somebody that crafts? Somebody that is basically, I'm kind of like the law inside the game. I'm a sheriff. I'm a marshal. I'm a villain. Guess what? I'm an outlaw.
Yeah.
That's the RPG role playing game. But an MMO, at the end of the day, we plan. This is a game that you plan or should plan to play for a longer period of time. You pay a monthly fee. You play the game.
Right.
I don't want to be, done and dusted after 30 days. That's it. I'm done. I played the game. I completed it. I finished
exactly.
it. There shouldn't be that.
Yeah. Right.
So having these things that we've been discussing now kind of makes sense. That's kind of like that. That's basically the missing evolution of the genre.
And I will just say that it as much as we talk about all these features, yes, a lot of them we haven't seen. Some of them we have. But we're not saying go all in on every single thing. We're trying to say is pick and choose what will work for you, and do it to the extent that you feel it will work. Because let's face it, if I have a leather chest piece on, someone hits me with a sword, I'm pretty sure that thing is going to be gone, worthless, pointless.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But I'm not going to go out and try to get a new leather chest piece every time someone hits me.
You'll just go topless instead.
Exactly.
Yeah, you go topless. That's what I do.
You can't break my gear if I don't wear it.
Absolutely.
Anyway, should we move on?
Move on.
Yes.
So, Gus, tell me about the podcast.
Boom.
Oh, you're gonna throw me under the wood. Well, as I said, I kind of talked a little bit about it earlier. Tess and I have been podcasting for a long time, and I think it's largely because Tess and I like to talk. I don't know. I think that's what it is. We just like to talk.
And we think we're funny, and we're not.
And we think we're funny. Yeah, exactly. We're funny to each other.
I've watched the show a couple times, and I had a good time.
Oh, good.
That's awesome. That's
the point.
And so, yeah, I mean, I think Tess and I are mostly about innuendo, but anyway, we just like to goof off and have fun. And so, you know, the same kind of thing. We've gone through all these MMOs, and we're really looking for a home where, you know, in a sense, like, a lot of people are looking at this saying, wow, the game's not going to come out for a while. It's out there we actually embrace that. We love that. We love to get to what if, and, you know, even with talking with you guys, it's fun to actually kind of dream a little bit, right? And not have the box opened already, as JJ Abrams would say. We want to go out there and find and uncover this stuff. And so we really enjoyed this opportunity to be a part of this community and just, kind of what if a little bit, and that's what's been so great about it. And so we started Standing in Fire. We were doing a World of Warcraft podcast, and we just weren't feeling it. It just felt I don't know, you can speak to this a little bit, Tess, but it felt bland, right? It just felt like we were repeating the same stuff over and over again. It was just another expansion with another same thing and another another loot grind to the end. And
our whole thing is that we just want to be funny, you know. We want to be the type of podcast that you can listen to on your way into work and just giggle, you know.
That's actually very dangerous to your health.
I would love it. I would love it if we caused some car crashes. I think that'd be hilarious.
We tell everybody to pull over. Yeah.
But that's what we want to do. We don't take ourselves very seriously. It's just for fun, and it's just to make people think maybe a little more in depth, and then to have a good time.
We don't now, if anyone in the audience right now is an artist, I beg you, please, make a comic, 2 cars head on. One guy comes out, sorry, I was listening to Standing in Fire, and the other guy goes, me too.
Yeah,
me too. Yeah, right. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah,
and that's kind of it, right? We're trying not to be serious. We're trying also to find ways to I don't know, secretly maybe expand what MMOs are doing. We hope that sometimes people listen to us and do stuff. I know that when we did the Guild Wars 2 podcast, one of the funny bits we had all the time was talking about these pocket raptors. And we were always like, oh my gosh, these damn pocket raptors. They just, no matter what you did, these little things would come out and eat you and kill you. And we had a lot of fun with pocket raptors. Sure enough, when the next expansion came out, you know, the devs were talking about the damn pocket raptors. And I felt like we had a little bit to contribute to that community as far as how people viewed that part. And we want to do the same thing here. And we do want to inspire people and just get them excited about and being a part of a community again, just and not taking it seriously. That's the other part about it. This is about relaxing, something to do when you're not busy at work and doing all that. And we want people to come be a part of Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen with that kind of mentality. I'm going to come play this game to enjoy the company of others. I'm going to play this game to have fun. And it is not a, you know, as you guys had mentioned, it's not a grind to end content. It's more about the journey and kind of being with people. That's what we would love to see. And so we hope we inspire that in other people.
Nice. Very good. And what can people expect to see from you guys in the future?
Probably just more of the same.
Yeah, nudity possibly. I don't know. I really don't know.
Listen, we just on Wednesdays we just have one too many martinis and
drinking.
Laugh.
More drinking. We haven't really got into our main
one-shot boss.
Tess and I created this about drinking. Like our podcast was started around drinking, as bad as that sounds. We haven't really even got into that. I think you'll see.
I approve.
Yeah, there you go. I think you'll see us do more of kind of what we've been doing, already. And I think as the game kind of rolls out, we'll get a lot more other people involved. So we only thrive by having community interact with us. And so we really encourage everybody that's maybe listening to this show or listening to our own show, you got to come out and you got to be live with us because it makes it good. We love to tease the other people that are part of it, and we love to draw every single person into our podcast. So please do that. Come and be a part so we can draw you in.
It is a really good time. Trust me on this one.
Yeah.
I don't think I got to bed until really late, and I was laughing the whole night.
We'll make fun of you.
Exactly. We just make fun of everybody, right?
That at all. God.
Exactly.
Now, I'm curious if you guys are going to be streaming Pantheon at all.
Well, it just depends on if Boom gives me the keys to the Twitch stream.
Yeah,
we will.
Yeah.
I don't doubt it.
Streams and with the big community that everybody's creating and all of these different guilds and stuff that are going to be around, I definitely think we'll be doing some streaming of the nights that we play. And this game is going to lend itself to streaming because you do have to play with others. And I think those are engaging streams. So this isn't just a solo thing. This is going to be a deal where groups are going to get together and stream together.
I can't wait till Drunk Fridays.
There you go, Drunk Fridays. We already have it. Let's put it. All right, is that URL taken? Drunkfridays.com? Is that already taken? Probably. Don't go there.
I'm sure it is, and I'm pretty sure it's probably a site you don't want to go to.
Oh yeah, probably not.
I have to Google that now.
Don't do it, Noah.
Google Drunk Fridays and find out.
Here we go.
If not, that's our site.
Be knocking on his door or something.
Well, or naked runs. That was the other thing that we did in our old.
We do naked runs, and I expect that to come back.
Cannot be reached. Woohoo!
Oh,
it's
all right, maybe it's available. Drunk Fridays. Let's get it booked. We used to do this thing where, because the content in most MMOs gets too easy for you at some point, what we would do is strip down to our nothings, and we would run the content naked, and we called them naked runs, and we would run this content naked. It was a good time.
I thought it was in real life.
Something we do.
No.
Oh no! You don't wear pants. Yeah. You do realize you don't wear pants.
Right, so I just googled NoPantsThursdays.com.
Yeah.
Yes, Danik,
yeah,
I really bought this domain name. Somebody actually purchased this domain name.
All right. So we've got 2 domains we got to buy. All right, that's fantastic.
All right. So now let's say someone wanted to harass you guys a little bit. Where and how could they get in touch with you? I'm asking for a
Tess,
friend.
this is all you. This is all you, Tess.
This is my job on the show. So you can reach out to us as a podcast. You can see us at Standing in Fire. Oh, I don't remember it now. I don't have the script.
It's twitch.tv/Standing in Fire podcast.
Okay, there it is. And what's our URL? I don't remember. StopStandingInFire.com. There it is. Or at SIF Podcast on Twitter. You can get a hold of me at Debuff This. Boom at Boomtap Live. You can get Milla, who is so disappointed that he couldn't be here tonight, you guys.
He wanted to be here tonight. Yes.
He had some stuff.
We'll do it.
If he happens to be at his computer or at his home right now, we can get him in real quick.
Wait, stop. We'll do this even better. Mill, I will get you on as a solo guest and do just for you a special player Q&A.
You should. He's the best of both of us.
He is just so amazing. Like, we're so blessed to be a part of Militus's life. I love the guy dearly, and so he is. He's at Old Militus on Twitter.
Old Militus at Twitter.
Yes. He's the one everybody has a crush on.
Everybody has a crush on the old Milla. Or you
sounds like my spirit animal.
call in, and that's part of the thing that we love about our show. Is we're kind of like a morning drive time show. So please call in or text us at. I'm not singing it because
You're not
I've been drinking.
Okay.
No, I've been drinking.
702-625-1337. And the 1337 is because that spells VoT. There you go. Hey, it's Militus. Militus has joined. Maybe. I don't know if he's actually joined.
He said, sure, would love to join you all. So I'm going to see if he's there.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. You can check with him and see what's going on.
I hope he can. He's had some.
He's had a rough day.
I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but look, he's in my phone.
Oh,
fantastic! Yes, fantastic. And we all became friends. We all became friends from MMO gaming, and it is encouraging to everybody else out there. Like if you play MMOs and you take a chance, get to know different people, you will eventually become really, really good friends with them. And some of my dearest friends are from MMOs. And I'm driving this summer out to see Militus, and we are going to hang out together, and the families are going to hang out together, and my wife and his wife already talk to each other, and it's amazing how all of this kind of comes together from these games. It's really far-reaching. Yeah. And I hope to someday have a beer with Yarn Nilla there, and I hope to, I just, all of you guys. I hope that we can meet up at some point and get together and share stories and just be a part of each other's lives, because it's really important to all of us.
Well, that's something we could possibly, seek out to do as a whole community, is to plan an event and get the funds in that would be needed to get everybody together.
Yeah,
I agree.
I will create merch just to fundrace this. I'm saying I'm ready.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do it. Let's do it.
And that doesn't just go to the content creators. Anybody who's a part of the community.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'll be an open invitation,
let's get them out there.
basically.
Yeah, let's get them out there. I'm ready to do this.
Because I'm pretty sure there'll be firearms. If that's the case, no.
So let's talk a bit about some design. How do you think, Tess, Pantheon should evolve over time? I.e., should cities expand, decay, and so forth? Should the world, the environments change, the biomes change over time, etc., depending on what's been happening? What's your take on that?
Well, I think that we've kind of touched on it a little bit. Yeah. Like, I love the idea of just a city, because of the arc of the lore, just being decimated. No more city, bye-bye. And now that we have to rebuild and we have to refocus. So I think the world should be a living world. It should fluctuate. Zones that you grew up in Pantheon playing should be go underwater or something like that. Like just overarching changes. Yeah, I think that's a big thing.
Down with cardboard sets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Boom's quickly gone AFK, as far as I can tell.
Oh, I hope the Del Optiplex didn't die.
So what I'll do is I'll ask a second question now as well, so you can give your answer there, and then when Boom comes back, we'll go back to him. So do you feel now? Let's say, for instance, now Pantheon's been out a couple of years, and now and there's an expansion upcoming. Do you feel that they should reuse old areas through new expansions?
Oh yeah. Nothing is sadder, I think, than falling in love with a zone and then you only see it for like 4 levels and then you never see it again. I think that creating special events that only occur in those areas, doing the perception system which takes you back to those areas, I think that that's really important to create a very healthy world, and always make sure that there's plenty of players in case you don't have a big guild that you can always jump into. So yeah, 100%. Don't let a zone die. Go back to it.
Dayok, you're so funny, mate.
Well, did you notice that Day mentioned that Boom has an RV so he can have a taxi service, and all of a sudden he disappears?
Yeah. He's got people knocking on
Maybe
his
he's
door.
coming to
Hey!
my house.
Hey! I'm watching you currently. When are you going?
I'm on my
Yeah,
way!
I'm in on the RV. Anybody wants a ride, I'm in it. You just tell me, I'll take you in an RV.
It's gonna be like
so
a clown
fun.
car, only like just gigantic.
It is gigantic.
He did
My
that
RV
one
is way
time.
too big. It's ridiculous.
Here's a little side story. Boom and I were teachers at the same school for a while. And when there was a blizzard and I couldn't get out of my house, I couldn't get out of my driveway. And I was like, well, I'm going to have to call in. I'm texting Boom. And he's like, I'm going to come pick you up. Hang on. And we four-wheeled it all the way through this blizzard to get to school.
Nice.
Best commute ever.
Yeah, right.
So, Boom, question to you.
Yes.
How do you think Pantheon should evolve over time? Should should cities expand, decay, etc., all this good stuff?
Yeah, I love all of that, and I think we kind of hit on it a little bit earlier. I also would love to see them evolve the story onto these other planets and get them involved somehow. I'm a big fan of that. I know that that's something that's not going to be a popular opinion, but I do think that this is infinitely expandable. So I would love to see the story go to the homeworld of the Archai for an expansion, and have that tie into the thing, and maybe that expansion's completely different with different worlds and a different look, and maybe, I don't know, maybe things are upside down. I don't know what it's like on Archai. I just know that they have 20-foot waves. That's all I know.
Yeah,
but yeah, I would like to see him go. I would like to see him take risks, I guess.
Yeah.
With where they go. Yeah.
And the second part of this question is: do you feel that Pantheon should reuse old areas through new expansions?
I like that. I really do. I think that most games have now tried to do some sort of instancing to do that. Because you do run into this problem of like, what do the old players do when the new players are there? And so, it involves the leveling process and how everything scales. And I think it's a complicated issue. I love the idea of the world not just being thrown away after I've gone through it for 10 levels. I would love to be able to come back and do that. And I think Guild Wars 2 hit on a little bit of that. They made it to where every zone was still applicable. They did that through world bosses and some other content that was in each zone, and I love that idea. But I know that's difficult. I don't know exactly how they're going to pull that off, but I would love to see it. I know that's true, but I just don't know in an MMO I've ever seen anybody pull it off in a great way.
So, would you ever attend a Pantheon type event, or how far would you travel to get there?
We just basically already
Yeah,
kind of answered that.
I would do it.
We're gonna
Well,
plan
no,
a big
how
one.
far would you? We didn't hit how far you would travel. For.
Yeah, how
He
would
said-
far would you travel?
He said he would visit Yard, so he's willing to come to Germany.
Yeah, I'm willing to come to Germany already.
Me too.
Yeah. I'm a homebody. I haven't been very far, but I will drive anywhere in the RV. Tess and I talked about, having some sort of we were talking about a meetup at one point. We were talking about Vegas because that's obviously they've got a lot of meeting halls and things like that. We were talking about that being kind of fun. But I'm open to just about anything. I would go just about anywhere to hang out with everybody.
And I am not afraid of an 8-hour flight. Like,
Yeah, you're fine with it.
I love Europe. I've been several times. I would go anywhere. You just give me a date. It would have to be in the summer, but you give me a date and I'm there.
Cool.
100%.
Yeah, summer.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward 3 years from now. What is your hope that Pantheon has actually become? And let's start with Tess.
I want it to be the game, and I miss this. the game that I can't wait to get home from work and play. You know, where you're like, dude, you guys, and you turn to your coworker and you're just like, 2 more hours, and I get to go home and I get to play, you know, and I haven't had that for a long time, where I just was salivating at work and like sitting here and grading papers and going, dude, just get home and you can do your dailies, you know, or something like that. And I need that back. So in 3 years from now, that's what I hope it is. I hope it is an immersive thing that always keeps me guessing, and that I just can't wait to get home and play.
Yeah. How about you, Boom?
Well, I'm gonna be mean here. I'm gonna say I hope it's out. So I'm gonna say that we're
That's all you want. That's the out.
Well, you know, I'm like, realistically, I'm looking at it going, okay, well, it's probably only been out a year, maybe 6 months by then. And I guess that's part of it, is I think it's going to be still early in the cycle. So I'm hoping that the hype is still real, and everybody's still having fun leveling and doing different things together. That would be kind of my 3-year plan. I think, 5 years, 10 years out, it's the same thing as Tess was saying. I'm hoping that they're bringing new ideas constantly to the game. I hope they're not just kind of pigeonholing themselves into one thing. I would love to see them take chances and risks and just really be like, the whole time when I think of game design, I'm like, just make something that's fun to play. That's really what I hope they do. Make it fun to play.
I was kind of hoping when you said, 5-10 years down the road, I hope it's out. I hope he was going to lead with that again.
yeah, it's out again. It could be like that. No, I think it'll be out by then, but it's a weird game world, and there's so many different great things to play, and gaming is just, technology is just taking off and making it to where these games are coming out bigger and faster and stronger than ever. That's why I think they need to go ahead and take risks with the MMO genre and just say, we're going to make these things in the game because they're fun, and they're just going to have to do it. And they're not going to have to worry about what people think. They're just going to have to be like, this is fun or this isn't fun. It's going to be in the game. It's not.
Yeah. So now we're finally down to the most important question. The only reason we ever have anybody on the show anyway.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, the only reason Lex has anybody on the show.
Yeah. The only reason I come here on Fridays. Because
okay, all right, let's hear it.
Who is the VoT host with the most? Take it away, Boom.
Oh my gosh, I had to go first, huh?
Yep.
Oh, well, everybody has been fantastic. So. All right, everybody has been fantastic. And originally, my idea was I was going to go ahead and so I'm doing my research. I'm learning about the show. I'm watching the shows. I'm doing all this stuff, and I see that Lexer has RC racing as a hobby. I too RC race, and Lexer does IT work. And I too used to do IT, and I taught game design and development in high school. And so I see all of these different hobbies. But then I realize I could totally sit in a pub with Yarnilla, and we could totally have a beer.
Dude,
and just hang out.
I live 4 houses from 2 bars.
You do. I'm just telling you. I feel this
Yarn, I guarantee it.
I feel this weird connection with Yarn, and I can't drink much either. Yarn, so we're set. You and I are going to be great. So I'm going to go with Yarn just because of this weird, strange connection. Even though Lexer and me have a ton of things in common, like a ton of stuff in common.
Actually, you mentioning that, when I caught your podcast live, when I stayed up long and I was listening to you guys and everything, I also felt that connection. You kind of have the same thought process and thinking and vision. Oh, guys, give up! Of course, love is in the air. But honestly, cool. I'll definitely.
I'm gonna count that as a pity vote.
All right.
Whatever.
Tess, my girl, don't let me down.
Okay.
Hey, he hates halflings.
He
does
eat
hate
him.
me. He'll eat me.
For the record, he doesn't hate them. He loves them in a barbecue sauce.
Exactly. I don't hate them. I love how they taste because I ate them.
Well, I feel like just for like lady solidarity, I should pick Shy. But
right.
I think who I'm gonna pick is the rational.
This is tough.
Calm, rational.
Mm-hmm.
And
There's a lot of judgment.
No, I think Josh.
Yeah.
I think Josh and I we were having conversations about delicious vodka.
Well, I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something about Josh. I'll tell you something about Josh, what nobody else knows.
Listen.
Right? Rational, calm. This dude is off the rails. When we go off the air, you should hear this guy.
That's test 2. So I do see a connection there.
Yeah.
I do see that connection.
I feel like we're the
See?
I feel like we're the pretty ones that have to like deal with all the stuff until we get off the air, and then we're the assholes.
The fall of the sky is starting, Lex. I always told you, ride your high horse while you still can.
My horse got feet on you.
All right.
Oh, brilliant.
So that brings us to the end of this wonderful interview and the end of the VoT show. We will be going on break for a very, very long time. We'll be back on the 24th of May is when we are officially back.
Okay.
When we bring you Tavern Talk, we're gonna take a nice long break to refuel, refresh, get in that RV with Boom and travel.
Yeah. Just travel. Let's do it.
Awesome.
So again, guys, thanks for joining us, Militus. Like I said, sorry you couldn't be here. But I hope everything's okay, and we'll get you on, dude. We'll get you can come on similarly, and again, you guys are always invited to come on if we ever have.
We just thank you so much.
Yeah, it was such an honor.
Thank you. It has been so much fun, and we feel privileged, and we're just humbled, and thank you for being a part. And we hope that maybe while you're on break, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of you will join us at some point as well. Maybe when you're bored, sitting there saying, "I wish I was podcasting," you guys can hop on our podcast. All right, fantastic.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
So with that, everybody, have a wonderful weekend. And we'll see you after our break.
Brilliant.
Maybe Lex the topless, maybe not. We don't know.
Yeah, topless.
Definitely.
Topless.
Everyone needs to see those bread pasties I got.
There you go. All right.
Take care, everyone.
Take care, guys.
Have a great holiday.
Oh, actually, stop. Go back. My word. We forgot the questions from chat.
Oh,
did you have some questions from chat? Oh no.
We do. We have 3 of them.
We do.
We're back.
Oh,
We're back.
okay. Do we need
This
to?
is actually part of the
First question.
After
was-
dark.
We psyched you out. You thought we were quitting, but we're not.
This is actually a thing.
This is what happens every Friday. I think I'm done, and he's like, "Come back."
Okay.
This is a part of the show we wanted to see.
First
All right.
question.
All right.
Do they think Druid will be a very viable raid or dungeon healer?
I would like
I
to
didn't
know.
catch that. What was the question again? I'm sorry, I didn't catch it.
Do you think Druid will be a very viable raid or dungeon healer?
Oh, okay. All right. What do you think, Tess?
I'm not
This
a
is
healer,
probably
so
from
I don't know
Militus.
anything
Militus-
about anything.
Militus is in this he's in this perpetual battle between cleric and druid, and he's like in this battle to figure out which one he wants to be. And 1 week he's like, I'm cleric all the way, and the next week he's like, I'm druid. And my understanding of it is cleric will be the best. and Druid will have a little more utility. So I think they'll both be good in this situation, but I think you're really talking a matter of whether you want pure healing or you're going to be something where utility works. So it's going to be the makeup versus it's going to be the makeup of the rest of the group that's going to really kind of determine some of that. So if you're going to want to just heal like maybe a traditional healer that you're in a traditional game with the Trinity, I would say you want to go cleric. But if you're wanting to be a part of a group, I would say Druid would be a choice for you. That'd be my 2 cents.
So true.
Okay, second question. What are some racial passives that you would like to see to benefit tanks and healers?
This is all you. This is all you with your tank.
Well, I personally feel that racial passives should not dictate what is the overarching bonus to class. So I think racial passives should be situational and not a situation where if I don't play a dwarf paladin, then I'm not playing paladin right because I don't have the right passive. So that being said, I'm big on mitigation as a tank. So just being able to eat more of the damage. So that's what I would look for in a racial passive.
Tank-wise, we're a lot alike.
Probably.
Awesome. And finally, how do you feel about Pantheon? Excuse me, let me rephrase that. How would you feel about Pantheon having raid markers to help indicate where certain groups need to stand in the fight or go to during a certain mechanic? Being an older feeling MMO, some people might not want that.
No, not at all. I don't want raid markers. I don't want. No, I want to organically understand that when the boss turns around and is about to bring his hammer down, that I don't stand in these areas. Like I want to discover that because that's part of the fun of figuring it out. Is being a wide-eyed babe in the woods, Correct. So that's me.
If it's all done with predictability, then it's just boring.
Exactly.
Well, it becomes very formulaic.
Yeah, where's the adventure? Where's the challenge?
In my experience, when you do stuff like that, then you take away the opportunity to find new and interesting ways to resolve a conflict or an encounter. Because
that's a really good point.
You stand here.
Yeah,
you stand here.
There's no.
Yeah. It becomes about following a YouTube video.
Yeah, if there's a big purple spot in the middle of the dungeon floor, that's not engaging.
That's kind of
that's twitchy.
It's one of those things like Lex said. If it's done that way, that's one of the main reasons why I'm so fed up with MMOs, because there's only that one way to do it. It's all DPS nowadays. DPS the mob till it falls down and dies.
Tank and spank.
There's no hey, take your time, do this, hide, a bit of strategy here, strategy, and I'd love
CC.
To see, CC. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'd love to see multiple ways of things being found out how to do it, because not every raid's going to have maximum DPS to down this encounter, but there might be another way to do it.
Yeah, and isn't one of the fun things watching that one friend in the raid go the wrong direction and do the wrong thing? I mean, there's a little bit of fun watching. I don't want to say that I'm that guy, but a lot of times I'm that guy, and I'm going completely in a different direction. Everybody's like, "What on earth is that dude doing?" Right? And I think that's kind of fun. I don't know. It's about laughing a little bit too. Like it's not all serious. Some of this is about fun.
I'll tell you about the one instance where we were in EverQuest 2, and my wife and I were raiding with this one group, hardcore raiding guild, and we're fighting this boss, and he would do something, and an explosion, one of the characters were triggered, and that character would explode amongst the raid, and the raid leader was saying, who the hell is causing this explosion to happen within the raid? Why aren't they running out? And my wife and I are both staring at our things, thinking we're looking at the detrimental window, but the detrimental list of things, but we're actually looking at the beneficial list of things over here, and we think, no, it can't be us. No. And then only after we realize, oh shit, that's actually us.
Yeah. and I'm sorry, okay, I'm not the world's best player, but there are some things that I just can't do, and doing the dance, there's a reason why our podcast is called Standing in Fire, is because if you look up me, I'm on fire because I'm where I shouldn't be because I didn't get out of the way. And I don't want it to be that type of thing where it's obvious where you should or should not be. You need to, learn it.
The only things I want to predict, or that I know we can predict in raids, is that Lex is going to get us killed a lot, because he's gonna tell us to go and do stuff and stand here and do this because he's and then all of a sudden things. No.
If you've learned anything from our few games that we've played, I'll never tell you what to do. I'll always bring the trouble to you.
Well, it sounds like you guys need another tank.
We do.
Lex is a trainee. He likes to train.
I do.
I picture it now. We'll get together, join into the raid. 2 seconds later, Lex will be like, blah 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 blah, beep 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 beep, and then suckers, and then that's it. We're all dead.
Yeah.
See, if they give Dire Lords
so like usual,
I'm going to abuse it. I'm sorry, it's out there. You know just as well as I am. I'm going to abuse it, and I will kill Yarn at least twice a day.
Oh, Yarn.
Hey, it's all good.
Oh, don't feel bad for him. He deserves it.
I can res myself. Don't you worry.
All right, Josh. I'll just put my shield between you and danger. I got you.
Oh yeah, thank you.
But hey, Lex, you watch out for those ledges, buddy. I will push you down.
That's fine.
So,
can't kill a good Dire Lord.
Was that all the questions, Shy?
That is all the questions.
Awesome.
Those are good ones.
Those are great questions.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for having us. It was so lovely.
It's lovely.
So, this time for real, have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you after our break.
Yep. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. See you when we get back.
Be safe, everybody.